This time we're going to take apart a Ferris wheel. This one's a little different than most of the Ferris wheels I've come across. It does not work. It plays music, but it does not rotate, nor does it light up. So I'm going to go ahead and plug it in. Nothing. The reason I say this one's slightly different, turn the volume down, is this one has a drive shaft right here. I can hear the motor. I don't know if the camera is going to pick it up or not, the microphone. It's probably a bad belt that drives the drive shaft. It spins in both directions. Most Ferris wheels either put the motor right here, or they put the motor down on the edge and they drive the outer ring, or the inner ring, depending on which way you look at it. But the music plays. I can rotate songs, all year round songs, and Christmas carols. So this one does not have an off-on switch. This is just on. You have to unplug it from itself or the wall. So we're going to see if we can open this and find out what's causing it to, well, not spin and not light up. On the bottom, and this is another Mr. Christmas product. On the bottom, there's a whole bunch of screws around the outer edge. There's, what, 8? I've already removed the screws because they were corroded, because it's part of an outdoor display. At least I removed the screws I could see. I believe there's probably screws under these pads. Aha, there is. Alright, so I removed, there's 10 screws and I removed 8 of them. Yep. So let's get these other 2 screws out, open it up, see how this thing works. These are much larger than the other screws too. Other screws took some finagling because they were corroded from being on an outdoor display. But I was able to get them all out without stripping the heads. There we go. Alright, so the only thing on the bottom is the speaker, which, to make life easier, I'm going to unscrew the speaker so I can remove the bottom plate and not have it dangling. So, they put some glue here and here on the speaker to help hold it in place, as well as the 2 clamps. Now we can see the inner workings of this. We're going to plug it back in. Wherever I put the cord, right there. I can feel the motor. It does appear to be turning, but it's not turning any of the gearbox, unless I turn the Ferris wheel. So we're going to have to disassemble this entire area. Oh, well, I can see the problem. I don't know if I'll see it on camera, but the broken belt's on the bottom. I believe if I take out the outer screws, I should be able to pull this center section out completely. That's what we're going to try. And that'll be step 1. on trying to find out why this doesn't work. The only thing I don't know is how the drive shaft's attached. It goes up. Huh. There's a little gear right there. Here's the drive gear right here. And there's the broken belt. So this one's actually pretty easy to at least get to the mechanism to make it rotate. Nope, that gear is cracked. There is a crack. When I rotated it by hand, you might have heard a clicking sound. And there is a split in this gear, which I'm sure is not a easy to find gear, especially since it's a keyed gear. I'm going to try and clamp it and fill it with some Gorilla Glue. Try and give it some longevity. So, I'm going to first try and find a belt. And then I'm going to pop this gear off and clean it off, glue it, let it harden for a little bit before I stick it back on. Then we'll come back, test it, see if it rotates, then we'll see if we can get some of these lights to work, since it's got LED strips on every single spoke. So, shall return once I find a belt and I fix that gear. Alright, we're back. I went ahead and found a belt and glued the gear. Let's turn the volume down. And as you can see, she's rotating. And then there's the bottom. See the gears turning. So the next step is to see if we can make these things light back up again. I'm assuming something on the other side of this circuit board is the problem. Hopefully it's just a broken wire. But the reason I know it's there is in this arm is the power wires for these lights. So I want to check the circuit board first, see if it's here. If not, that means I got to take apart the center hub and see if we can find the problem with the LED lights. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to disassemble the bottom. So there's 3 screws on the circuit board, 1 in each corner and then 1 in the center. 1 on each side, I guess. 1 in the center. Two screws are flathead, and one's a small, just a small alignment centering screw. And here's the circuit board. Okay, the red wire goes up the back arm, the black wire goes up the front arm. And on the bottom, black wire, red wire. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug it in, and we're going to put a meter on the black and red wire on the circuit board to ensure we have power. If we have power on the circuit board, I'm going to go ahead and reassemble the bottom and take apart the hub. keep the hub, lifting the hub to keep the wheel from rubbing on the bench once it is sideways. So we have about 9 volts going to the lights. Apparently they have the black wire is the hot and the red wire is the negative. So I'll reverse it so you can see. We have about 9.1 volts. So the problem is going up the arm, probably inside the hub. So I'm going to put the screws back in, reattach the bottom, and then we're going to take apart the hub and try and find out why none of the arm lights light up. So I did replace it with an actual belt. The belt I had was slightly smaller. What I did is I stretched the belt and applied a mild heat, just a glancing heat with a heat gun, to stretch it, but not enough to lose its full elasticity. So the belt I had was just a hair small, but you can carefully stretch them. If you go too far, you ruin the belt. Apparently I didn't ruin the belt, it's spinning just fine. So I'm going to reassemble all this, put it all back together, and we'll be back to take apart the hub and try and fix the lights. Okay, bottom's on. I did have to put a dab of glue on the rubber feet to put them back in. Just a small amount, we're good. The hub, there's a whole bunch of screws. I already unscrewed them. Now we're going to pop the case off and we're going to see what we can see inside. And we're going to try to. Okay. The reason it won't come completely off is the wire. The wire they have fed through. The wire is right there. You can see the drive gear. This uses a rotor. The hot wire touches this brass plate right here. And see where it's kind of soldered right in here, and the ground wire comes off the front. I'm not quite sure how this is supposed to come out. Probably have to pull the bottom back off to unscrew one of these arms, because this axle is attached to the front side with 4 or 5 screws. Looks like there's a plate. That's kind of hard to see, but I can see how the LEDs are soldered. Looks like they're using the face of the wheel. Both sides are metal. They're using the face of the wheel as the ground, and they're using the center hub as the hot. So, very interesting setup. Take some of the screws off that hold the center hub, where we have the ring gear, and we're going to see if this helps. Alright, apparently that only removes the rotor disc. There's still more screws that hold on the actual gear onto the axle. Alright, so I guess I gotta take the 10 screws back out after I just, glued it all together, since apparently the hub doesn't just disassemble from the back side. You need to take off one of these arms, and of course they're attached from underneath with 4 screws. So and I can just to try it. Let's see what happens if. Well, we can't really take the gear off because the wire goes through the gear, but we'll see. We'll see what happens if it can come off. Did a pretty good job of building this thing. Yeah, nope, that didn't do much. Alright, well, we're going to pause, and I'm going to disassemble the bottom and pry out the rubber caps that are glued in. I'm going to take one of the arms off, since there's just not enough play to pull that out without possibly snapping one of the uprights. So, I'll be back in a moment once it's all stripped apart. Alright, I got the bottom open, I got the 4 screws out. Apparently I should have done this before I put it all back together the first time. So, live and learn. Now we're going to pull the axle out. And what I want to do is I'm going to test the lights directly. I'm going to be using a power supply. I'm going to clip the hot to the center without touching the wheel. The wheel itself is probably going to be ground. Then I'm going to connect to the edge of the wheel. Actually, let's get the try the rotor too. Alright, what you're hearing is it's pulling more power than my power supply can put out. So, try one other thing. Alright, well I'm going to try and find some other way to get some power into this to test it. So we shall return. What I'm going to do is just try and check polarity from the hub. Then once I make sure the polarity is right, I'm going to try and calculate how many amps this thing draws, or how many volts as well. Because I don't see any resistors on it externally. There might be one on the board, but I'm sure each one of these arms that go up probably pull 1/4 of an amp. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 arms. My power supply is a low powered one. It only puts out 2 amps max, and surge, or 1 1/4 continuous. So this is going to be pulling too much. But I'm going to check it, see if I can get at least one arm to light up, and then I'll be back. Alright, well unfortunately we were unable to get the lights to work. What I ended up doing was cutting and removing one of the strips and then hooking power up to it and testing it. The strips are all blown open, probably rotted out from being an outdoor display. But we did get it to rotate. You did see how it works, and I did get the off-on switch to start working because it is just full of dirt. So hopefully this helps in the future for any similar Ferris wheels. Until next time, thanks for watching.